Hey everyone, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to evercrisis. We're going to be talking about Angeal's release. This video is going to be more about his Arcanum setup that he came with. It's a limited banner, meaning that if you pull for it right now, it will not be in the wish list. This weapon is specifically just for this banner. It looks like Square's doing, or Applebot, where new character, limited banner, right into a guild battle, because this weapon also works for the guild battle, but for also floor 29. For this video specifically, this is going to be a power skip video for his current banner, and then I'll have a breakdown video of his entire kit. I will touch upon a little bit on the kit here, so in the video I'll say these are my favorite weapons for him, these are going to shine the most, but I am going to give you a wish list for this current water Arcanum setup. So a lot to talk about when it comes to Angeal, especially with his new Veil ability. It does more than you think if you didn't read it carefully. So let's jump in and let's talk about him just a wee bit, and then go real deep dive into this. So first off, chat mentioned when I was streaming this on Twitch, I do stream all the updates right away, that he looks like Zoro. From behind, yeah, the color scheme definitely Zoro from One Piece. Also Auron, and if we get a Final Fantasy X collaboration, this guy is definitely going to be Auron. If he isn't, highly disappointed. But overall, it looks pretty good. It's nothing too crazy, but it's also not terrible, so take that. Other costumes that look really bad. He's got Honorable Training Garb, it's called. This seems good at first glance, but then when you do the math, you're sitting there and you're like, well, 5%, if you have 200 magic defense or physical defense, you go to 210. So you're only getting a boost of 10, right? It's not a lot. It's better than nothing, but it's not a lot. So yeah, the reason it's not a lot is because if there was more than that, defense is really strong in this game, and if you start pumping out more than that, it kind of gets crazy. Once you start hitting 300, 400, sure, but there's diminishing returns on defense up, so you got to be careful with that as well. Next up we have, it's a water Arcanum. Told you that in the beginning of the video if you were watching. It is 35% increase, and that go along with his new weapon, Tranquility. This at OB1 or OB0 is 520 physical water damage. It has Provoke, Veil, I'll explain all that in a second. At OB6 is where it goes to 780%, and this is a beautiful place you can stop and then slowly work your way to OB10 with weapon parts. Him being a new character, weapon parts are going to be a very long thing unless you're a paid player, so try to hit that OB10, because OB10 is 940% water potency, taking the spot of the strongest water damage dealing weapon in the game. I still think Glenn with his anniversary weapon plus his water buffing weapon makes Glenn a stronger DPS because he can buff his own water DPS. But when it comes to raw dog damage, Tranquility is very powerful. So this comes with our abilities to boost attack all allies, as it does with all other limited weapons, and boost water potency. There is no downfall to this weapon. It's got 940 potency, Provoke, Veil, high R abilities, and high physical attack. That's because it's limited. Right? If it wasn't a limited one, then the R abilities would be like, I don't know, 31, 39, something like that. But because it is limited, it's crazy. It's also got a sigil, which is good. So what does Provoke do? Provoke is a taunt. It will taunt an enemy to do single target attacks to Angeal, and then Angeal can use his entire kit to mitigate that damage. The problem I have with Veil, and I'm going to talk about this in a breakdown video, is that Veil only works on single target attacks, and usually when a boss is going to wipe you, he's going to AoE wipe you, meaning the area of effect is going to hit all allies. So Provoke is not going to help you there. What will help you there is Veil, and Veil is applied to self only, right? In his kit, he has a limit break that does it to the entire party for 20% of max HP. But when you think about 10% of max HP, if Angeal had 10,000 HP, 10% of that is 1,000 extra HP. If he had 20,000 HP, 10% of that is 2,000. So he mitigates 2,000 damage because you can make him very tanky. 2,000 plus anyways, because you can make him way plus 20,000. But that being said, even with high defense, most bosses will hit you for more than 2,000. So Veil seems like it's good, but nothing crazy to write home about. And again, Provoke, it also isn't anything crazy because all big damaging hits will hit the entire party. So his limit break is nice for that Veil, but for taunting at the moment, it's kind of a niche thing. Overall, great weapon. I'll talk about his kit a little bit more detail. If you do pull this, take away Provoke, take away the Veil. That is a strong Arcanum water damage dealing character right there that has extra things attached to him. So he's really good. If you need a water DPS that's physical, this is your guy. Can't go wrong. The only thing is, if you try to make him a pure DPS without putting in any tankiness, when the enemy does get provoked, because you are going to spam his ability for 940%, you're going to provoke the enemy the entire time, and unless you have survivability and the enemy's constantly hitting him, he might just die. So you kind of have to build him with some form of HP or a lot of defense just to counteract that. He's going to be doing high water damage, but he's also going to be smacked around by all the single target attacks. So with that being said, Kate Sith weapon is on this banner again. That's 4 banners in a row, Kate Sith weapon, where Sephiroth got 3. So yeah, I know the one in between was a shared banner, so it doesn't really count, I guess, but this should be the last Kate Sith HP shout banner. Overall, his entire kit is pretty cool. Let me give you a wish list though before we jump in. It's definitely a pull if you need water setup, but there's a collaboration coming up next month, so you kind of want to save for that. Collaborations are usually really good, but limited weapons are also super powerful. So if you do want this Angeal is going to be connected to the guild battle we're getting on the 23rd to the 28th, I believe, or 29th. So if you need a water physical to help your guild make that top 100, top 10, whatever it is, this is your go-to guy if you don't have Maritime Cloud, if you don't have Glenn, so on, right? But for wish listing, this one's pretty straightforward. Angeal, main hand, his new weapon. Everyone on the team gets that boost attack all. 39 points of water potency. And to make that water potency go any higher, you get it off the Black Whiskers. And you're going to take it from the Feather Gloves. So 39, 39, 78, you're at 100%. Everything else is diminishing return of only 10% increase here. So we're going to go away from that and go towards Ceremonial Sword or Killer Hornet from Matt. The reason being is that when you put these points in here, we're going to go from 45% to 70. That's an increase of 25% potency compared to just water potency plus 10%. So it's much better to put one of these in instead of another water weapon. So you're going to main hand this weapon. You're going to run Black Whiskers, Feather, Ceremonial in the back, and his offhand weapon is going to be the Greatsword. My voice is a little hurt, so I'm trying to get through this quickly before I lose it. So sorry if I sound like my voice is going down, down, and down. Still a little bit sick. So the reason you're using the Greatsword is because the R abilities, it has boost attack 31 and boost physical ability potency 52, which is cut in half to 26 points, plus the Ceremonial Sword off of Zac gives you that 70%, which is really, really good. So besides that setup, because that would be your 1, 2, and then, oh no, I switched Zacs. And then you run Zac, Tifa, Zac again in the back there. Works really well. The other weapon I'm talking about is this Killer Hornet. If you don't have the other one or this one's already OB10, use it instead. It just has a little bit less physical attack. It has 640 where this weapon has 660. Not too big of a difference, but everything counts, right? Now, if you want to run a more tanky version of Angeal, because I told you he's going to provoke, what I do recommend is you're going to run his main hand weapon, but his offhand weapon is going to be 1 of 3 choices. If you are facing something that has physical damage, you're going to bring in the physical defense up off the Type 90 Longsword, which you got 3 free copies for the campaign, and you get 26 points in ability potency, offhand 13 points, right? So this is going to add Provoke as well if you use it, but you have the main hand weapon, so you don't need to use this. It's just there for its R abilities, and it does come with 643 strength, which is nice. If you have nobody on the team, like Eris Monster Hunter weapon, this weapon's amazing. One of my favorites for him. It raises physical defense high to all allies, and also raises physical attack high to all allies if you have 70% or more HP. Our abilities are boost HP, so survivability, and buff and debuff duration. That's a really good choice. If you're facing an enemy that does magic damage, you're going to use a Monolith, one of my favorite looking swords off of Angeal. It has magic defense is increased to high on self, and then you've got boost HP and boost magic defense. So depending on what you're doing, those are your 3 options. My first option is going to be the Type 90 Longsword. just for having that ability on it. Second one is going to be this one because of physical defense and increasing the physical attack of everyone, including himself. Really, really strong. So that's the ones you're going to be switching between for his offhand weapon. For the rest of the build, you're going to be using Vincent's T03 Model N. And that's because when we replace his other R ability weapon, we're losing physical attack. So to max out physical attack, we're going to use Black Whiskers. 62 points from there. And T039 model that also has boost physical ability potency. So that way you're still rocking 45% increase in potency. So to recap this real quick, main hand this weapon, offhand one of these 3 weapons, Black Whiskers in the back, Feather Gloves in the back, and then Vincent's weapon T03 model in the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And his other build, already talked about that, full DPS. So if you're having an issue of surviving, you switch the Greatsword for type 90 or Stalwart. If it's magic, then the Monolith. So pretty cool overall. Now quickly, I'm going to give you a little breakdown of everything. 2 weapons you're probably not going to use, but they're really good once he does have more of a magic build. CC Aloe Greatsword, 900% magic lightning damage. Really good damage. Just nothing right now costume-wise to help him. And then Innocent Warrior has AoE fire magic. So these are going to be great R ability weapons for other characters. He's got really good R abilities. But overall, you're not going to see much play on these 2 for a while. This one, I'm not going to pronounce that. It has 1200 earth potency, because if you're at low HP, you do 2 times damage. Our abilities are pretty good as well too. It's just that the gimmick of having low HP, again, with him having provoke, there's a possibility, and this goes along with his other earth resist down weapon. So he's kind of like Magic Vincent, where he can lower earth and do earth damage. But overall, you will probably use this more to support other earth damage dealers. It's just that putting them together without a costume, it is a little bit lackluster at the moment. My favorite weapons by far, Type 90, the Greatsword, the Monster Hunter Aerith weapon for raising physical attack and defense, plus the one to do boost HP. So basically what I recommended for his build. Honorable mentions are Type 91. It has physical attack mid to high, and it has magic attack decreased mid only. And that is pretty freaking good, right? This one gives range single enemy, and single enemy, it's not AoE, but most of the time you're facing a single enemy that's a really pain in the ass. It's only 3 ATB, and it has a diamond sigil. Great R abilities for surviving as well. This one's really good. I really, really like this one. There's going to be very big moments where he's going to be DPSing or full tanking, and that's going to come in very handy. And besides that, overall, yeah, the most shine is 1, 2, 3, 4 for sure. And then later on, when he's more of a magic DPS, he'll have more. And hopefully he gets like an Earth Arcanum. That way he can make those really shine. But his overall kit's really good. For this video specifically, I just want to show you guys that water setup, give you a wish list, give you an idea of how Angeal is. Overall, as a kit, like I was talking about, he's going to be niche when it comes to the tankiness. The Veil is the most important thing, because his third limit break actually gives AoE Veil, and the way Veil works is very interesting. So you can see 20% of max HP of the affected is applied. So everyone's max HP, 20. And it's a buff duration of 40. So that's really good. Magic heals cast as well. Again, 20% of a character that has 10,000 HP is only 2,000 HP. But when a character has 20,000, that's 4,000 shield. So you get a shield. And the reason the HP matters is because it should be in the notices. Veil has a secret thing on it. Not really secret. If you just read the notices, you'll see it. But Veil blocks up to a certain amount of damage based on the max HP of the affected. It is destroyed when damage exceeding that amount is taken. If an enemy attack is nullified by Veil, any effect associated with that attack has no effect. So if an enemy attacks you, does damage, and lowers your defense, right, or applies an effect that does damage, if the shield doesn't break, then you won't get physical defense down, magic defense down, attack down. But if the shield breaks, you still get affected by that. So Veil is a good way to mitigate damage, having more HP than you would normally, but it will nullify a lot of debuffs the enemy do as long as the shield is big enough. 1,000 shield, when it comes to the 10% boost, or 2,000 shield, those are most likely going to get broken, right? A lot of AoE attacks do like 3,000 attack. So it's going to be very rare moments. In the really, really hard content, I don't see his personal weapon doing 10% Veil doing much. Things like Doom, Poison, Venom, anything that doesn't do damage will go through the Veil. So if someone wants to Doom you, because Doom doesn't do damage when you cast it, it will just be applied to your characters. So keep that in mind. And also just anything future where they like, nah, Veil won't affect it. They told you here. Some abilities have effects that are immune to Veil. So Doom, Poison, etc. Anything that doesn't do damage will go right through the Veil, I'm guessing. So overall, great character, great Arcanum. It's just a limited banner right after all these limited banners from the anniversary, plus Halloween costumes, plus a collaboration coming up. It's a lot. It's a lot. Unless you're really hurting for that water setup, or you really want to make top 10 in guild battles or really help your guild out, you could skip this like any banner, right? Especially if you don't care about Angeal. If you do pull it, I do see them making a quest specifically just for him to make him shine, to make it look even better. He does help on floor 29. He'll help for Ramu fight if you haven't maxed out your Ramu yet. But overall, you can't go wrong. But at the same time, it's up to you guys. Is he a husbando? Is he something you need? Go for it. His kit's not bad. He's strong. I just have a little bit of doubts in Veil and a little bit of doubts in Provoke. I feel like Provoke can smack you back when it comes to him doing single target DPS and you just want him to DPS, but he is going to be built towards being more of a sub DPS, support the team, and do damage while tanking. In that sense, very strong. That's just my thoughts for now. I will have a full breakdown video. My mind might change on some of these things, and I might go more depth and talking about everything in detail, showcasing what he does. But that'll be for a later video. For now, this was a first glance, poor skip video. Hopefully it helped you guys out. Let me know your thoughts down below. Besides all that, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll smell you later.